Welcome back to another episode of A Ghost Hunter Watches.
Yes. And today we're going to talk about the first 4 episodes. So if you haven't seen the entire series, we haven't either. So if you've seen the first 4 episodes of Stranger Things, a Netflix original show that's really taken over, taking the Netflix world
lives.
and the creepy, scary, the horror movie fan world by storm. I think
also, it fills the void of 80s nostalgia for all of us.
Holy hell. It's like early 80s, they do such a marvelous job. It feels like home to me and something you've read in a textbook. But it's I love it because it seems like it's equal parts poltergeist kind of creepiness, part X-Files with government conspiracies, but we've got this, it very much starts out feeling like a paranormal ghost haunting type of show.
Plus we have our own teeny tiny Imperiosa Furiosa.
Yes, absolutely. She's a rock star.
She's amazing.
And very quickly we see that it's very much a sci-fi, creepy horror show. And you think all of these different elements, and with it's a monster movie too. You think all of these different elements couldn't possibly all work together, but they make it great. And I love that we have Winona Ryder as a main character in it.
I was just talking to one of my friends who were texting back and forth about before I got a camera, and she was saying, she's like, be sure to mention how uncomfortable it is to watch Winona Ryder as an adult.
As a mom in the 80s.
A mom in the 80s.
We got to know her in the 80s, kind of mid to later 80s as a teen in Beetlejuice, and now we get to see her back in the 80s as an adult dealing with more strangeness. Stranger Things. Yeah. This series starts out where you see a whole bunch of kids. It very much, I've heard people compare it to the Goonies.
Of course.
Which is very accurate. Time and tone, very much so. And it makes me think of Super 8.
Yes.
The kids running around having their adventures.
Less lens flare though.
Yeah, less lens flare, and it gets homicidal really quick for them. It's a paranormal, supernatural mystery, and the more we unfold, the more questions I think we have. To me, whatever this creature is, which we don't, right now, by the 4th episode, we don't know what it is. It seems like scientists are studying this thing. Meanwhile, in the same laboratory, they're doing all these bizarre experiments. One of our main characters, Elle, or Eleanor, has just escaped from, and she's got some superpowers of sorts.
Maybe perhaps some connection to the monster too. She seems to be able to communicate with.
Yeah, she's able to.
People that are trapped alongside this monster.
Yeah, we do learn fairly really early on, that this kid did not die and that he's a ghost now haunting his mom, but he's trapped in what I believe is some like between worlds, kind of an interdimensional.
He's in the further.
Yes. And by the way, I love that. Well, I believe that's what's happening, and if that's what's happening, I love that because I really do believe a lot of paranormal occurrences. Bigfoot, all that. I think I'm of the belief that there's some interdimensional traveling. Shadow people, of course, as well. I think that's the more accepted theory of what a shadow person is. Some bleed through from another parallel world. Mm-hmm. So I love that they seem to be going that direction with this series. There's this big creature, we don't ever get a very good look at it.
Which is my favorite thing. Like, the best way to deal with horror. I completely agree with you, is that the Stephen King philosophy, like, never show the monster.
Go on, this Alfred Hitchcock. Yes. If you blow something up, you'll get a moment of shock, but if you tell people that the bomb is going to blow up in 5 minutes, you have 5 minutes of suspense, and the trick is to never let the bomb go off. And I love that.
Love it.
But it very much seems alien, and so we don't know if this creature is otherworldly, like outer space, or if it's actually kind of this world. And maybe with these bizarre experiments that these scientists are doing, they found a way to open up a portal, a Stargate of sorts.
Yes.
And that they can't at all control it, but they've opened up the door.
People keep mentioning when you talk about the show, and it even comes up a little bit in the final episode that we watched, the 4th episode, and all the newspaper articles that they're going through. They keep referring back to MK Ultra. Somehow this is part of the MK Ultra project, which to me that's not at all where my mind was going in that, because to me that's not, the MK Ultra project wasn't psychic. They weren't pursuing psychic abilities. We didn't care about that during the Cold War.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, the MK Ultra project was this super secret project that we pursued in the 50s right up until the 70s, where it's part of Project Paperclip, which was the initiative that brought Nazi war criminal doctors over to America to try to further their studies.
We know that Nazis had secret underground UFO bases in Antarctica,
Yes.
so I mean they have all sorts of knowledge.
At least we forget the Nazi bell that was supposed to ruin us all. MK Ultra was a mind control project that we were trying to figure out ways to topple world leaders and regimes by making them appear crazy or control what they were doing or saying to try to get our way on top. And it was a real thing that we actually tried to do. Unfortunately, the documentation for it was lost in 1973 after Watergate.
Yeah, not so much lost though.
It was destroyed.
Yeah.
The head of the CIA, which we do actually have the paperwork saying that he literally ordered all of the paperwork on MK Ultra destroyed post Watergate, that it was just all going to come out and it was going to be horrible. So what we know about MK Ultra is what we were told by people that were used as their test subjects.
Mm-hmm.
These were non-consenting and a lot of times civilian test subjects. To me, what 11 seems like is more of what the Soviets were doing during the Cold War. The Soviets during the Cold War, like, yeah, we were racing to the moon and doing all these incredible things, but they were also very focused on parapsychology, or as they called it, paratronics.
Yeah.
And they even had some Russian housewife that she claimed she could levitate chairs and move them across rooms. But they truly believe that that was the next step. And to me, that's what 11L seems like. That's what she does. She's not... At least that we've seen, we've never seen her force-fed LSD and told to perform or go crazy. We've seen her in horribly abusive situations that no child should have to go through. But mostly it's her own psychic ability that's being tested.
Yeah, it seems like she has this ability, so they're studying her and trying to weaponize her.
Yeah.
As opposed to forcing her to have these abilities.
More men who stare at goats, less Manchurian candidate.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we see a lot of telekinesis, of course, being able to move objects with her mind. And
how much do you guys wish, growing up as a kid, that you could actually levitate your Millennium Falcon?
Or make the bully in school wet himself by freezing him in place. So yeah, there's a lot of really interesting paranormal aspects of it. The not pyro. We haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen her start fires, but electrokinesis. She can utilize electronic equipment, big old-fashioned walkie-talkies, in ways that we can't, using her abilities or powers. Which is kind of neat. It's kind of like a spirit box, actually, in a way. Using conventional terrestrial radio equipment to tap into some other world's frequencies. But yeah, I definitely, because you see her do very much a men who stare at goats type of thing, which was more of a, not a CIA, which is what MK Ultra was, but a military, an army, a U.S. Army idea that you might be able to stop someone's heart with your mind.
Remote viewing, being able to see another place when you're focusing on it that you're nowhere near.
Yeah, and that was the military, the U.S. military did do a lot of that type of stuff around this time period too. So that actually does chronologically line up. And we see her with it was a cat in a cage.
Yeah.
That she's obviously, we don't hear what's happening, but obviously she's tasked with the idea of hurting this cat in some way, and she doesn't want to do it.
I love that she can't kill the cat, but then like fucking turns around and kills both
Two
of
guys,
the security guards. I'm like, that's my girl.
Yeah.
In the mid-60s, we learned that they were spending about $500 million a year on parapsychological research in the Soviet Union, because you have nothing else to do in the Soviet Union besides eat turnips and research psychics. At one point, a French magazine claimed that the Americans had made successful land-to-sea telepathic communications to a submarine underwater called the Nautilus. We apparently adamantly claimed that was not our own doing. We did not do that, but that did not stop the Soviets from getting all up in arms and throwing even more money and further research.
That could have been just great strategy there.
Yeah, right?
By let's get a rumor out there to really freak Russia out, let them get focused on other stuff. While we go to space.
Moon, yeah. Or hire Kubrick to take us to the moon, whichever you're feeling.
From the late 70s into the early 80s, the U.S. military was trying to create the 1st Earth Battalion Operations Manual. And that was all part of their staring at goats and all of that stuff. And it was part of, let's see, they created a psychic spy unit.
Oh.
And so I believe a lot of this type of stuff that we're seeing depicted in Stranger Things came from these efforts to create a psychic spy unit.
Yeah. So the U.S. was trying to put together a guidebook on how to train military operatives to remote view and use
and do all of this
psychic.
Yeah, I mean it was again kind of on the tail end, on the heels of another New Age movement, and we didn't know what is the potential for the human being. We thought we had, and who knows, maybe we do, have all of these abilities within us, we just haven't learned how to use them yet. So if we start to train ourselves a certain way, which again, getting back to ghost hunting, all this kind of stuff, I do believe that the more you investigate, the more you open yourself up and flex and work out your psychic muscle, you actually get better at being able to perceive things, to pick up on entities in a room, for example. Not so much, and who knows, maybe even telekinesis to some extent. But they were obviously, as the military does.
The spoon bender, what was his name?
Uri Geller trying to, just bend. The Department of State is going to want to weaponize it as much as possible, and they sunk a lot of money into that, to the point that that stuff could still be happening today, for all we know.
As the late 70s, early 80s, we've already talked about being like this magical period of all kinds of paranormal weirdness and creepiness.
Amityville going on.
Yeah. Like all these military projects. It's like right before the satanic panic kicks in.
Yeah.
And then it was all suddenly all these things that people were studying and doing openly were like evil and looked down on.
With all of these really awesome elements that they bring into the show, the multi-dimension, the government conspiracies and cover-ups and all that, I think my favorite thing about the show is the score. It sounds like a movie that was made in the early 80s with some dark synthesizer. It's just, and when they're getting down to business, the kind of more bubbly up-tempo. I freaking love the music of this show so much. And of course I was really nerding out the other day when we got to hear a cover of David Bowie's Heroes by Peter Gabriel, who of course probably most known as the guy that made Sledgehammer in the 80s. But the score alone keeps me watching.
I just enjoy all of the references to that the boys can make, that they're such the perfect group of kids because they're all so nerdy that you can
So the fact that we see them in one of the opening scenes playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's
literally the opening scene. I'm sorry, any TV show or movie that's gonna start with Dungeons and Dragons, you have all of my attention and all of my time immediately.
Which at that time was a fairly new game.
Yeah. It would have been brand spanking new.
Please comment, let us know what you think of it all, and of course
we'll link in the bottom to the book that I read on all of the Soviet and psychic experiments.
Sure. We'll also link to this great multi-part documentary series about the men who stare at goats and all the other stuff going on called The Crazy Rulers of the World. Which was a British production about the wild stuff that the U.S. military was doing.
Sign me up.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know if there's any certain movies or shows you want us to review and talk about as well. We definitely want to hear from you.
Yeah, any crazy movies you didn't quite understand because the paranormal was a little too much in there? We can help you. I did think it was really weird that she was suddenly able to shoo this demon out of the room without any issues just by being my skin palsy would leave. But in the first movie we had to watch a 15-minute exorcism.
Welcome back to another episode of What's I always want to say What's Your Ghost Story?